Frank's stadiums had 100,000 people every game day. Ticket sales, food service, merchandise, millions of dollars in cash flow. But in the stadium's basement levels, there were doors that were never shown to the public. Only Frank's men could enter. The only person who learned what was inside, the stadium electrician, disappeared the next day. 20 years later, when the FBI opened those doors, what they found would change sports history forever. Welcome to Iron Will's Stories. Tonight we're telling the story of America's most respected sports investor, Frank Lucchese. The man who built the most complex betting manipulation network in history behind the seemingly clean world of competition and fair play. This is a story where sports innocence collides with the darkness of organized crime. In 1995, Frank Lucchese was one of America's most successful sports investors. Basketball team in New York, football team in Miami, boxing promotions in Las Vegas. Frank's story seemed like the perfect success story. Son of Italian immigrant family, rose through his own power, reached the pinnacle of the sports world. At 50, he owned a billion-dollar sports empire. The media portrayed him as living proof of the American dream. In television interviews, a smiling, successful, humble businessman. A boss who acted fatherly toward athletes, investing millions of dollars in his teams. Frank's stadiums were architectural marvels. Latest technology, luxury VIP sections, flawless service. Sports fans traveled miles to spend time in his stadiums. But Frank's real business was completely different. Frank Lucchese was running one of the most important operations of the Lucchese crime family. Sports investments were just camouflage. His real job was building betting manipulation and money laundering networks. Every stadium, every game, every transfer, all were pieces of Frank's criminal empire. What secrets might lie behind your favorite sports club? Type secret sports. To understand Frank's genius, you needed to know the nature of the sports industry. Sports is a cash-based business. Ticket sales, food and drinks, merchandise, everything is cash. Millions of dollars in daily cash flow. The perfect environment for money laundering. Frank's system worked like this. Every game day, dirty money from different criminal organizations was shown as stadium revenue. Drug money became ticket sales. Extortion proceeds became sponsorship agreements. But Frank showed his real genius in betting manipulation. Frank made secret agreements with players, referees, coaches. He predetermined game outcomes, betting accordingly. He both controlled his own teams and influenced opposing teams. The system was so sophisticated that Frank sometimes paid for his own team to lose. When betting odds changed, profit was guaranteed. Like the Plaza Suite discotheque, stadiums were where this dirty money was laundered. Millions of dollars in cash inflow every night, recorded as legitimate sports revenue. Frank's sports empire was actually America's largest money laundering and betting manipulation operation. Are sports bets really fair? Type manipulation. In the stadium basements, there were doors never seen in public areas. Only Frank's trusted men could use these doors. What was happening inside? First room, high-tech betting center, where bets were placed on sports matches worldwide, where millions of dollars in transactions were conducted. Most advanced computer systems, real-time betting odds, secret communication channels. Second room, money counting center, where cash money from different criminal organizations was counted, packaged, prepared for bank deposits, special money counting machines, fake invoices, clean-looking account books. Third room, security and planning center, player and referee files, opposing team analysis, threat strategies. Meetings were held here before every major game. Fourth room, VIP customer room, where Frank's most special guests came. Other crime family leaders, high-stakes gamblers, suspicious businessmen. These rooms never appeared in the stadium's architecture. They were connected by secret passages. Even the ventilation system was separate. And one day, someone learned this secret. Have you ever thought there might be secret rooms where you work? Type secret rooms. Tony Ricci had been doing electrical work at Frank's stadiums for 15 years. A reliable, quiet man who knew his job. He knew every corner of the stadium. One night in 2003, he had gone to the basement for an electrical malfunction. Normal repair work, but he opened the wrong door. What he saw would change his life. Money-counting machines were running, millions of dollars in cash being counted. On tables were different team jerseys, player photos, betting lists. Men were talking on phones. There'll be a yellow card in the 3rd minute of tomorrow's game. Bet accordingly. Tony was shocked. Successful sports owner Frank was actually running a massive criminal operation. Tony tried to back away, but it was too late. One of the men inside had seen him. "Hey, electrician, what are you doing here?" Tony's heart stopped. "Electrical malfunction. Open the wrong door, sorry." The man called Frank. "Boss, the electrician saw the secret room." Frank's answer was cold. "We'll handle it." The next day, Tony didn't come to work. His family called the police. Tony Ricci was never heard from again. What would you do if you learned a secret you didn't want to know? Type disappearance. Tony's disappearance caught the FBI's attention, but catching Frank wasn't easy. Agent Sarah Martinez began tracking Frank from 2004. She suspected he was running organized crime operations under the guise of sports investor. But gathering evidence was difficult. Frank's operation was so complex that it was nearly impossible to distinguish normal sports activities from criminal activities. The FBI tried to place listening devices in stadiums, but Frank's security system was highly advanced, constantly changing codes, secret words, encrypted communication. For 10 years, the FBI could only gather circumstantial evidence, anomalies in money flows, suspicious betting patterns, missing person reports. In 2015, a big opportunity came. One of Frank's close associates, Joey "the Numbers" Castellano, was caught on drug charges. He agreed to cooperate. Joey told details of stadium operations, what happened in secret rooms, how money laundering worked, betting manipulation, but it still wasn't enough. They needed recordings showing Frank's direct orders. In 2020, the second opportunity came. The COVID pandemic. Stadiums emptied. Frank's operations became visible. The FBI placed hidden cameras in empty stadiums. They recorded for 6 months. And finally, they got it. Footage of Frank's meetings in secret rooms. How does a 20-year chase end? Type FBI operation. March 15, 2021. The FBI raided all of Frank's stadiums simultaneously. After 20 years, those secret doors were opened. The scene in the first room was shocking. Evidence of a $500 million betting operation. Documents showing that results were manipulated in every major sports match. In the second room, $50 million in cash. Written records of which criminal organizations it came from, which sporting events it would be laundered through. In the third room, files of secret agreements made with 200 athletes, referees, and coaches. Who got how much money, which games they lost, which decisions they made. In the fourth room, documents related to Tony Ricci's disappearance, and unfortunately, his remains found after 18 years. Among the evidence seized by the FBI, the most shocking was Frank's diary kept for 25 years. Every game, every bet, every manipulated result was written in detail. Frank's last words when arrested: "Sports was my life. I was just playing the game better." Frank's arrest shook the American sports world. The public began to question which games were really fair, which championships were manipulated. Could we still trust athletes? Frank's trial lasted 2 years. He was tried for 127 different crimes: money laundering, betting manipulation, bribery, tax evasion, murder. The most tragic testimony came from Tony Ricci's wife, Maria. "My husband was just doing his job. He was killed for opening the wrong door. I lived 18 years not knowing where he was." Frank was sentenced to life in prison. He went down in history as responsible for the biggest scandal in sports history. But the real question was Frank alone, or was the system corrupt? The FBI investigation showed similar activities at other sports clubs. The sports betting industry was completely restructured. Today, Frank continues his life in federal prison. He continues to watch sports channels, but is no longer allowed to bet. Frank, Sports Frank. Lucchese's story shows how sports innocence can be exploited. His iron will enabled him both to build an empire in the sports world and to change that world forever. He lived a perfect double life for 25 years, but his greatest display of iron will came after he was caught. He never expressed regret, only said he played the game better. The real spirit of sports is not doing everything to win. It's fair play, honesty, and mutual respect. Frank's story teaches us this: success should not be achieved at any cost. Sports should be the clean way to compete. Frank Lucchese's story shows us the dark side of the sports world. Seemingly clean competition, dirty games behind the scenes. His iron will enabled him to create perfect camouflage for 25 years. But no success is worth more than an innocent person's life. Real championship is winning without cheating. Real power is not giving up honesty. Subscribe to Iron Will Stories for stories that protect the clean face of sports. If this story affected you and you understood the importance of sports integrity, write clean sports comments. Remember, it's important to know the story behind every championship